looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. We need more dogs.
All right, folks. We are back with our quick picks for NFL Week 2, 2025. Jay couldn't join the short form of this. Going to try to get you every pick that we have early, of course. It's Tuesday night, or before the injury reports come out, but every pick that we have in 15 minutes or less. Hopefully I can get it under 10 as a solo show here. But starting off Thursday night football, Washington Commanders go into Green Bay. Green Bay are 3.5-point favorites, total of 48.5. Jay is taking Washington plus 3.5 and a lean towards the over on this. I'm also leaning towards the over. Also, really have a lean for Washington here. I do think Green Bay, I think Green Bay's going to have a hard time stopping Jaden Daniels in this game. I think he offers a really unique challenge for them, and he should be able to keep them within that three, like getting the hook there. I like that. So, but I don't like it enough to actually bet it. So that's kind of catch-22. But both lean towards Washington, both lean towards the over, or Jaden's taking Washington. Then next up, we got Cleveland Browns going to Baltimore. Baltimore at 11.5-point favorites, total of 45.5. Jay is leaning towards Baltimore on this, but saw that number and said, no, that's too big a number. I'm not doing that. I don't care. I'm taking Baltimore minus 11.5. I think they're pissed off. I think they're going to take care of business at home. And I just don't think Cleveland's going to have the firepower to stick with them in this one. So give me Baltimore minus 11.5. It's probably a dumb bet, but I do dumb things sometimes. I like it. So next up, we got the Rams going to Tennessee. 5.5-point spread, 42.5-point total. Rams only put up 14 points against Houston last week. Houston might be the best defense in the NFL. I think talent-wise, they are probably there. I expect them to be the best defense in the NFL this year, so that's not like a giant indictment. But I think Tennessee played super, super tough on the road in Denver last week. I think the Rams are a much better team than Denver, but Rams are also going on the road second week in a row. Went to Houston last week, going to Tennessee this week. I think that's tough. I don't know what, it does sitting on an airplane bother Matt Stafford's back more? I feel like it should. So to me, I'm taking Tennessee plus 5.5 because I think they're a feisty team. They're 0-1. I love an 0-1 team at home in week 2, even though, as we'll see with the next game, I'm not taking that. But with Tennessee here, I'm taking it. Next up, we got the Bears going to Detroit. Detroit are 5.5-point favorites, total of 47.5. Jay is taking Detroit minus 5.5. I'm taking Chicago plus 5.5. This goes against my system that I just said. I love 0-1 teams at home, unless the 0-1 team they're facing is the Chicago Bears. Then I'm taking the Bears because I am extremely biased and I'm probably a masochist. But really, the smart play here, sure. I think the smarter play is Detroit, but I'm going for the vibes with Ben Johnson. I'm taking the Bears. Next up here, we got the Bills at the New York Jets. Jets are 7-point underdogs, 45.5-point total. Jay is taking the over 45.5. I'm taking the Jets plus 7. And I'm leaning towards the over here, too. I think the Jets defense is going to give up plenty of points. That Buffalo defense had a really tough time stopping the run. I could see Breece Hall and Justin Fields both getting some nice rushing stats in this game. So the over does make sense to me. I think the Jets are going to be feisty this year. I think Aaron Glenn brings that to this team. And I don't know if they're going to win a ton of games, but 7 points, I think they'll cover that here against Buffalo, a team that, is coming off a very high from last week of that comeback on Sunday night. And I think that's hard to live back at. Like, there's a bit of a letdown after you're coming off that giant high there. So give me the Jets plus 7. Next up, we got the New York Football Giants going to the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are 5.5-point favorites, 44.5-point total. Jay and I are both in agreement on this one. We're taking Dallas minus 5.5. 0-1 team at home, taking on an 0-1 team who had a worse quarterback situation. I mean, I like the better quarterback at home usually. They're both 0-1. Give me 0-1 home team, better quarterback. Dallas is an easy play here for me, even though I do love the New York Giants defense. I think they're going to continue to struggle to score points all year. Next up, San Francisco 49ers at New Orleans Saints. New Orleans is a 4.5-point underdog, total of 42.5. George Kittle out. Brock Purdy's status up in the air. Neither of us want anything to do with this game. We think the Saints should get beat. The Saints were a little feistier than expected against the Cardinals last week, but not knowing about the status of Brock Purdy in this one, no more George Kittle. Like that's a lot to try to manage. It's on the road for the 49ers going to New Orleans. Just stand away. New Orleans second week in a row at home too. I think San Francisco's second traveling, because I believe they were in Seattle last week. There's a lot of elements working against San Fran here. They might still cover this. I don't have enough faith to actually bet it. Next one, we have the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Miami, after the stinker they just put out, are 1.5-point favorites with a 43.5-point total. Me and Jay are both on the New England money line. History says this is foolish. Noon or afternoon kickoffs in Miami in September are absolutely brutal for a road team. One of the best home field advantages in the NFL with the way their stadium is built. But that Miami team looked utterly dysfunctional in Indianapolis. And frankly, I have a hard time seeing a Mike Vrabel led football team dropping to 0-2 against this Mike McDaniel led Dolphins football team. I don't think that's something that I see in the cards. So we're both going with New England there. Jacksonville Jaguars at Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati are 3.5-point favorites, total of 49.5. At first, I was going with Jacksonville on this one, but then I realized, I think the 49.5 total, we're both liking the over. Me and Jay both. This is an over game for us. There's so much explosive firepower on these two offenses. Going with the over. Seattle Seahawks at Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh are 2.5-point favorites, 39.5-point total. Pittsburgh looked live last week. Aaron Rodgers looked good. Me and Jay are both on Pittsburgh in this one. Pittsburgh minus 2.5. We don't think Sam Darnold looked very impressive. Seattle defense looked impressive, but Aaron Rodgers looked like he might still have some juice in him, and that makes Pittsburgh very interesting going forward. All right, then we have Denver going to Indianapolis. Colts are 2.5-point underdogs, 42.5-point total. Jay is taking the Colts plus 2.5 there. Weird things happen at Lucas Oil Stadium. And Denver, we predict them to be a disappointment this year. That would certainly fit the picture there. Carolina Panthers at Arizona Cardinals. Arizona are 6.5-point favorites, 43.5-point total. We're both staying away. Thought Arizona should have done more against New Orleans last week, so we're a little worried about betting them at this number. But we don't trust Carolina to do much here either, so it's just a tough game for us to bet. Next up, Philadelphia Eagles at Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are 1.5-point dogs at home, 46.5-point total. Chiefs home dogs, Kansas City money line plus money. That's an easy bet. Historically, we're both on it here. Pat Mahomes home dog is something that is just tough to not bet for me. Atlanta Falcons at Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota are 4.5-point favorites, 45.5-point total. We're both on Atlanta plus 4.5 here. We think that, I think that Atlanta's defense really did a good job confusing Baker Mayfield last week. They made life tough on him. I think that's only going to be more notable against JJ McCarthy. So Atlanta plus 4.5 at Minnesota. Also, as a Bears fan, hope there's some ball don't lie in there of Atlanta, kind of taking care of business. Tampa Bay at Houston. Houston are 2.5-point favorites, 42.5-point total. Me and Jay are on opposite ends of this one. Jay is taking the Tampa Bay money line. I'm taking Houston minus 2.5. Ultimately, I think Houston, second game in a row at home, 0-1 start. I don't see this defense starting 0-2. Missing Tristan Wirfs in this game should loom large with the defensive line and edge talent that Houston boasts. Give me Houston minus 2.5 here. I don't know how they score. I don't really care. I think that defense ain't losing 2 in a row at home. Chargers at Raiders. Raiders are 3-point dogs, 46.5-point total. First home game of the year for the Raiders. Give me the Raiders money line. Me and Jay are both taking it. Don't sleep on those Raiders. They're going to be feisty this year. The Chargers 1-0. They just coming off beating Kansas City. Big deal for them. I hope they're going to let down in Vegas here. But that's all we got. Don't sleep on the Raiders.
And when you knock us down, on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap. Before long, we're the